You never know where you'll find the inspiration for your next quilt. That's why it's a good practice occasionally to visit art galleries or shows, museums, open studios, and other venues exhibiting art in all media. An image, a pattern, a color combination may capture your attention and spark an idea or an artistic pathway you've never imagined. No one expected the young Roman de Chertoff to become an artist. Instead, it was assumed that he would follow in the footsteps of his father to pursue a career in the Russian military, a course consistent with his birth in 1892, into a prestigious family whose roots could be traced to the mid-16th century. However, as a young boy, Roman became fascinated by the exotic, brightly patterned Persian and Indian miniatures and Greek vases that he found in his father's library and at the Hermitage Museum in his native St. Petersburg. As he explained upon turning 90 and approaching the end of a long, rich career in the arts, I think that these influences have stayed with me to this day, although they were assimilated a long time ago. Roman came to Paris in 1912 and rechristened himself Erte, from the French pronunciation of his initials R and T. He would go on to distinguish himself as, among other things, a painter, a sculptor, fashion, jewelry, costume, and set designer. His work influenced not just the world of theater, film, and fashion, but an entire movement as well. Erte is considered by many to be the father of the Art Deco movement. Once settled into the French capital, the 18-year-old went to work beside Parisian designer Paul Poiret. He used his apprenticeship wisely, working as a fashion illustrator, learning the art of couture, and discovering how clothes could affect the perception of a woman's body. He also demonstrated the flamboyance that would become trademark. In 1914, he attended a ball bedecked in a sensational silver lame costume, complete with pearl wings and ebony-plumed cap. Erte's early experience in the world of high fashion led to a 22-year relationship with Harper's Bazaar. He created over 240 cover illustrations for the popular magazine. In the meantime, his fashion designs began to appear in many other publications. As a result, Erte became one of the most widely recognized artists of the 1920s. Throughout this period, Erte created original costume and fashion designs for many of the era's most renowned screen actresses, including Joan Crawford, Lillian Gish, Marion Davies, Norma Shearer, and others. His creations, both costumes and sets, set the stage for such venues as New York's Radio City Music Hall, the Casino de Paris, the Paris Opera, and the Folies-Bergere, as well as productions such as George White's Scandals. With the onset of World War II, Erte's extravagant designs experienced a decline in popularity, a trend that continued into the practical post-war period. Not to be overlooked, the multi-talented and savvy reinvented his work in the 1960s by producing limited edition lithograph prints and sculptures, which introduced him to a new and enthusiastic market. He continued working well into his 90s, seeking new challenges until the end of his life in 1990. Today, his work can be enjoyed in many prominent museums, including the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, the Los Angeles County Museum, the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., and the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, as well as in many prestigious private collections. If you have the opportunity to see his work in person, do. In the meantime, we offer you this virtual experience. Perhaps it will launch a new idea or direction in your work, much as it did for Barbara Polston and her quilt, Erte Meets Frank Lloyd Wright.